My old favorite Mega Man-style roguelike 20XX is undergoing a 1,000-year upgrade, so with some new stages, revamped characters, and a new graphic style, let's head into the very early alpha demo of 30XX and see what's in store. For those of you that missed it, 30XX is the sequel/upgrade to 20XX, a Mega Man X-themed roguelite that entered early access around 2015 after a nail-biting Kickstarter, and reaching full completion only a few years back. It's no secret I was a big supporter of the original project, having not only done a full indie stop on the original game once it was released, but even a preview video on its alpha demo back in 2014. So when the developer shocked us all with the announcement of a sequel that improves upon lacking aspects of the original, you can bet I was ready to look into this ASAP. And luckily the demo dropped recently, so I could do just that. Those with the one big complaint, one I personally didn't agree with, but a steady complaint regardless, was the graphic style of the original game. It used drawn and animated sprites, and according to most people, looked too much like a Flash game. Those people should now be satisfied knowing this game is purely done in high-fidelity pixel art style, outshining the look of both the original and the game series that it's taking inspiration from. Though the trailer drop did get someone complaining it was pixel art because you just can't win with some people. Particle effects, animations, and the like are all turned up to full blast. Even the sound has a more retro feel to go with the style. The two stages offered up in this demo are gorgeous to behold, as a burning Zen temple or a cave outfitted with audio tech. The devs intend to remove one of the original game's bummers of having only 4 stages for these 8 bosses, a holdover from the original design idea, promising that 30XX will deliver 8 unique stages for each boss. I'm also pretty happy that the bosses encountered in this demo aren't just a big version of small enemy that was omnipresent in the original boss designs. Killing the boss of the Burning Temple also even gives a cherry blossom stage effect as an end-of-stage celebration. However, this new style isn't as easy for me to distinctly identify enemies when the game gets crazy, and I'm already cursing the creator of these mole enemies who almost perfectly match the color of the floor, being the biggest reason I would lose so much health in the cave stage. City Fires is still helming the soundtrack, rightfully so, being one of the best indie soundtracks I've heard in a long time, and offering up more than a few new tracks for this game. The 30XX theme being a logical upgrade to the already fantastic original 20XX theme. You can get hints of the feel and tribute of the original game with the new stage themes, and the bosses now seem to have their own unique battle themes. While still in early stages, I love this current sound set as well, giving a lot more punch to the effects from the original game. Nina's blaster has a really nice sci-fi laser sounding effect that's hard to pin down unless you hear it, and charge shots get a really bassy boom. Though I do find it weird that Nina's charge does a proper audio drop-off when Ace's didn't when I played, and it just became overpowering to the music. I'm pretty sure that's an unintended issue that might have already been addressed. I'm hoping these new sounds stick around for more than just this demo, since I already think they're fantastic. Gameplay-wise, if you've played 20XX, you'll have no trouble using those skills here. Fundamentally, the game is completely the same. You still have randomly generated stage chunks that form larger stages as a whole, and fight your way to the boss. You still have the wall climb, your charge shot, and item upgrades scattered throughout. Nina especially is a one-for-one copy of how she originally played, so Nina players should feel right at home. Ace, however, got some minor changes that'll help him stand out further than just Nina but with a sword. This time, Ace's weapons have a secondary attack, and Ace no longer uses energy like Nina does. The standard saber has a boomerang blade that'll fire forward a short distance before returning. The spear's secondary can fire itself into walls and enemies to create a new platform for Ace, and the newest weapon I found, the kunai, fire out short-range shots in front of him, while the kunai's secondary power seems to be the plasma cutter from the original, no longer being a spammable boss shredder like before. Ace also gets different powers than Nina, as defeating Zen Primus with Nina will give you an upward-firing mortar shot, but Ace will get a lightning attack that he can call down from above to either damage airborne enemies or charge his own attacks. Despite stages being primarily the same in structure, there are some changes to how they operate. Glory Zones, the original way to obtain the armor-changing core augments, still exist, but instead of short areas with a random task, like disable traps or kill all enemies, you have a usually platforming gauntlet, with occasional enemy swarms or traps that'll have you traversing quite a way before you locate the chest for that augment piece. Those of you who missed the original kill the enemy waves type of Glory Zone can still find them in-game when you reach a statue that you can activate, though this time the reward tends to be a new primary weapon, which was usually found in diamond crates in the original game. Stages are also programmed to have you face off against a mini-boss partway through the stage. Burning Temple has you run from a giant spike wheel through a series of enemies and traps until you're forced to confront it, while Echo Cave has you locked in a small area taking down 2 crystal formations that teleport around the room and spray spikes everywhere. Taking down the bosses will net you a decent chunk of nuts to purchase items with, as well as a small area that you can find chests for upgrades, vending machines, or Glory Zone teleporters. What? Checkpoints? That's cute. Post-patch, beating mini-bosses and stages also nets you some Memoria, this game's core chips, the permanent upgrade currency that you use to unlock better stats and more items to appear in the run. Same goes for a new currency that seems to indicate that different types of unlocks will require this alternate currency. One of these unlocks offers the ability to salvage items so that you can gain some stats from them instead of just leaving them to the wayside. Despite being someone who can finish a standard and even defiant mode run of 20XX fairly reliably, a lot of this demo kicked my ass. The difficulty seems to have ramped up, the starting health pool is pretty small, and up until a recent patch, enemies were a lot stingier with health and currency drops. Despite returning enemy behavior being 1-for-1, mechanics of the new stages with their traps and platforming elements threw me for a loop, and it was a refreshing change from just being able to dash through the areas carefree as I tend to play the original. Burning Temple feels like a cross between Agnesort and Vaculab with its natural elements, tight corridors, and fire traps galore, but it was Echo Cave where I needed to calm down and assess my surroundings. Various colored crystals around the stage had to be hit in order to create safe passage with vanishing platforms. There were flame turrets that would only fire if you made a sound, basically any jump, dash, or shot that you fired. Both of those mechanics had me getting destroyed on that stage several times before I was finally able to process it all. 30XX should easily provide a refreshing challenge to 20XX players that might have that game on mental autopilot. Even boss mechanics seem more interesting. I especially loved Zen Primus's phase where he'll travel to the center of the room and become unkillable, forcing you to avoid telegraphed fireballs from the walls of the room until you can hit him again. Watching these bosses change their tactics as their health reached certain points was a welcome change. It's a little sad that 20XX didn't get the initial respect and attention it deserved, since it's kinda frustrating to see so many articles and takes out there acting as if 20XX never existed, and treating 30XX as some bold new untested experiment. But more eyes on this franchise are welcome nonetheless. And at least the game's no longer competing for Google metrics with a Smash Bros. Melee mod. But waiting out the still unannounced release date is going to be torture. It's not actually coming out in 30XX, is it? I will say for all those people who have eyes on 30XX but didn't know 20XX existed, seriously, give that game a shot while you're waiting on this one. You're gonna need the practice.